So today we're going to have a look at the structure of the atom. And we're going to look quickly at what the atom is made up of, its relative size, and information about the things that make up the atom, the subatomic particles. The first thing we need to know is that an atom is a very, very small particle. The radius of an atom is 0.00000000001 meters. Okay, so that's a really small radius. It's a very, very small particle. And we can write that in standard form as 1 times 10 to the minus 10. We could also say that it's 0.1 nanometers. Now, there's two key parts to an atom that we need to know about. There's the bit in the middle, which is called the nucleus. And the radius of the nucleus is about 1 times 10 to the minus 14 of a meter. And orbiting or spinning around the outside of the nucleus, we've got particles called electrons. And we also need to know that the radius of the atom is 1 times 10 to the minus 10 of a meter. So obviously this diagram here isn't to scale. We can look at some of the particles that make up an atom. So let's remember that obviously we've got the nucleus in the middle. Now for a lithium atom, there are 7 smaller subatomic particles in the nucleus. 3 of those are called protons, and those are the ones that I've coloured in black there, and 4 of those, in this case for a lithium atom, are neutrons. So protons and neutrons, and they together make up the nucleus of a lithium atom. Now, orbiting those, as we saw on the diagram earlier, are electrons. And in the case of lithium, lithium has 3 electrons. We'll look at why that is and how we work that out in future sessions, but for lithium we've got 3 electrons, and they are spinning or orbiting in the electron shells. And you'll notice for this case that I've put 2 of these electrons in the first shell and 1 of them in the second shell, but this will be something that we do in future revision sessions. So the last thing that we need to have a look at is the information about the proton, the neutron and the electron. So just as a quick reminder, in our nucleus in the middle we've got 3 protons in this case and 4 neutrons, and then orbiting the nucleus are the electrons, and they're orbiting in the electron shells. So let's have a look at information about those 3 subatomic particles. So I'm using that word subatomic particle to mean particles that make up an atom. So sub, they're less than or smaller than the atom, so subatomic particle. We've got our proton, neutron and electron, and we need to know their relative charge. So their relative charge can be that they have a +1 charge, a -1 charge, or no charge, or neutral or 0, and we also need to know their relative mass. So for a proton, it has a relative charge of +1. The pro means positive. The neutron has a relative charge of 0. The neut in this case means 0, and the electron has a relative charge of -1. The proton has a relative mass of 1, as does the neutron. So they both have the same mass. Their actual mass is very, very, very small. millionths and millionths of a gram, but they have the same mass, so we say that their relative mass is the same. The electron's relative mass is very, very small, almost zero compared to these ones. We can say very small, we can almost say almost zero, or we could also say 1 over 1,840, so a very, very small fraction, but very small is probably the best way to say this. Thank you very much.